It's well, and it's interesting too. With powerlifting, I've done like worked with a lot of different people. And it's awesome. That's my favorite thing, is to meet and learn from people that are better than myself. Because I don't think there's a top. There's always going to be someone that finds new information, and we should. Well, I guess I like to share it, and it seems you definitely like to share it, stuff that you've learned. We should to get that together and stop bickering between all these. Well, this is better because he's wearing blue shoes. Like, that's not low enough because that guy was sitting too high on the judge chair. Like, it's it's all, I don't know.
There definitely is a lot of politics, and like there's some things that I'm opinionated on, and I just won't even. They're refinements. Like, you could be better if you do this and do this differently. There's certain things in the sport, and I don't touch them because they're not that important, but they're things that people think are really, really important, and it's like a religion to them.
They get fixated on
like,
it.
I am a person that does, the high bar squatting, or I won't go into them because people are going to go, oh
Sure.
my God, but there's these little things, and it's like, yeah, we can change that, and it's going to be a little bit of a refinement, or, it doesn't, there is actually no fixed answer. It depends on the lifter, the leverages, what we're trying to accomplish, all this stuff. So sometimes this is appropriate, sometimes this is appropriate. And but it's like people live in these camps, and it's like a little bit of a religious thing. Oh, you're associated with this person, this person, and this person.
Yeah,
another example.
Yeah.
And I just try to ignore that. Just like I try to ignore all the internet comments these days too.
It's getting worse and worse by the week. It's getting worse and worse by the new media. There's another way to, oh, hey, now you got Instagram. Instead of just seeing what their numbers are, you can actually look at their form, 15-second video, and rip it apart, And
At the same time, I love it, though.
I like Instagram.
It's you see a lot of negativity, which you don't see. If you go to, actually, I'm sure the same thing, Kettlebell Sport or powerlifting, like, everybody is there supporting each other. They're like, it's a great camaraderie, awesome environment. But it doesn't. If anybody from the outside ever looks at that on the internet, it looks like something different. It looks like it's just, there's a lot of negativity,
or critiques,
But at the same time, I love the internet and the platform because the ability to reach people around the globe. Like, I have people every day message me about the impact that I've had on their life and removing their pain or helping them hit PRs or you name it. And it's like, there is no way me sitting here in Portland, Oregon could ever have done that without this.
Right.
So you've got to take the positives and negatives, and so I just try to gloss over now, the other stuff and not let it bother me.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing that you just kind of brought up is removing pain, because there's so many people that are so headstrong that it's there, it's there, you can see it, but they're not talking about it because people think they're weak or something like that. But come on, like I want to be after this sport, because we're in sport, right? Sport doesn't last very, very long, We want it to extend it as long as we can, but there's always going to be an after. How do we make the transition from being a highly successful athlete to a highly successful coach? It's hard to kind of be both at the same time. I've coached people
not many people are, by the way.
Yeah.
They're two distinctly separate skills. And it's very rare that you have a combination of someone that is actually both. Because some of the things that make a very successful athlete don't make you a good coach.
Right. The last competition before, I recently just had knee surgery. Not a big one, but just meniscus, and it's still pretty painful doing certain things 4 weeks ago. But it stopped me from doing the mode, long cycle, which is double clean and double jerk for up to 10 minutes with kettlebell sport. And last time I did it, I used two 61-pound bells. And I think I made it 8 minutes or whatever. But anyway, after that, I kept feeling like a shift. Like a femur to tibia, just kind of like a little, every time I'd go to jerk or jump or anything, or maybe hike downward, right? So where it's mostly quad engagement, not much glutes and hamstrings helping, I could feel that little shift, and it worried me. So I let it kind of get better, but I always worked on it. Did, a Rosti therapy, did a different like rolfing. I've done all sorts of stuff that most people don't dig.
Right.
You know, I carry a bag that has things in case I'm sitting for too long, because I don't sit. This is not the most, actually I'm pretty comfortable because we probably have pretty good posture. You know what I mean? But like, I feel pretty good. But the other day I sat for a long time on the plane. I haven't done that in probably 9 years. I got up and I was real tight. So I grabbed my bag, worked out some stuff, rolled out some stuff, and that was better. But I'm finally back into getting to that coaching people the whole time while I was injured and not competing. So I went to compete again, and while I'm coaching these people, I didn't even realize that I'm up next. Because I don't care. I mean, I'd like to train myself. I'd like to get a record. That's awesome. And training in the gym during my practice, I hit a record. I'm like, okay, well, next competition, I think I should be able to do a little bit more of this. It didn't happen because I wasn't mentally there. I wasn't ready.
Yeah, it is really challenging to balance the both of those.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit that. So it's a learning curve for sure.
So what about pain? Pain relief.
Yes.
What do you do the most? Like maybe we can get into, what's your pre-workout?
My pre-workout is actually really, really simple. I'm not a fan of actually doing like mobility work or soft tissue work or any of those things that a lot of people really do and promote. So my view is that you try to correct and get the muscles working that aren't working. I've been sitting. Okay, we better get up and get the glutes firing, getting some things working properly that are going to be the movers. I'm not going to stretch them. I'm not going to foam roll them. I may do that afterwards or on off days that aren't associated with that. So it's a lot of priming the pathways that I want to be working. Boom, boom. How do I get those working optimally and correct whatever was leading into this? Did I just get up? Have I been sitting in a car? Have I been sitting in the office?
Am I too cold? Am I too hot?
All these things define what actually the warm-up would be. But it's all, for me, it's like priming those neural pathways, making sure everything's engaging and working properly the way I want to. Is my core working? My obliques firing? All this stuff working right? And if I find a gap, try to correct it. Then I test it. Then I'm ready to go lift.
Cool.
And that actually, in the end, ends up shortening my workouts.
Yeah.
Because what I find is I can take faster, bigger jumps or not rest as much in between as I'm moving up. So the 7 to 10 minutes that are in some of the warm-up routines that I posted online, again, those are just sample ones. What I do may vary. Yeah. But it's 7 to 10 minutes, but then I probably cut 10 to 15 minutes off of my actual warm-up to what my practice weights are going to be. And so that's my approach. Now, I may do mobility work if it is a non-primary mover, but affects positioning. So I may do shoulder mobility work before I squat, right?
Yeah.
Things like that.
You do really similar stuff. I do kind of like you said, getting things working. So basically in the movement pathways, I try to get people to do, I think it's made a good habit to get people to use rolling and certain things like that, but I try at the beginning, like, don't stay over there for 30 minutes and make that tissue way too loose.
Exactly.
Or turn it off, possibly. Like, okay, well, now my calf, but find out, is it tight? I think, okay, wow, you're walking funny. Like, why is that so tight? Like, yeah, the left one. Well, let's take your time. Let's address that afterwards. Because, like I said, if you make yourself super loose, and I'm getting on the bar and now I'm Gumby, right? And then, or I, snatch a kettlebell and my right arm can go about 3 inches farther than it, about knock the light off, about 3 inches farther than it could yesterday. You haven't learned that new position. So I like to do, like I said, the mass mobility stuff on days off.
Yeah.
Very similar, right?
And so if you're having trouble, like, oh, my hip, I can't get into position to squat because my hips are too, well, one, we need to figure out why your hips are tightening out, correct that. But you may, right now, I need to squat. So over the next few weeks, on my off days or the day prior to squatting, I may work on hip mobility work to try to treat that.
So I think that's a good thing for people to think, well, I only train, this many times. How can I do more stuff? Well, on your off days, to let your nervous system kind of recuperate from what you just, tried to kill it, by doing more. Take those as an active recovery day. Roll or mobilize. Go move, incorporate that motion, go hike, ride your bike, kayak or something, maybe not kayak if your hips are real tight, because I did that. I used to kayak a lot, and it was affecting my hips because I wasn't used to sitting that much. So I did a whole summer of kayaking like 3 times a week on my lunch break. I'd get out there for an hour and drink a coffee or something and just enjoy being in nature, but I was still sitting. From a person that doesn't sit, that throws in another 3 to 4 hours of sitting, could be a good percentage, right? So it kind of messed me up a little bit.
I love your off days in quotes. I joke about, so all my clients, they never have off days. Every one of them, I do an individualized assessment based on their movement, pain, all these other issues, or issues that we need to correct in their movement, on their, and so every off day is an active recovery day. And they have a set of stuff that's usually body weight stuff, work through, might be some stretching, might be other, and every day is a little bit different, and then their warm-ups are all defined, but it's not
Ben and Jerry's.
There's no actual off day.
Yeah, you're doing something. You're still human.
It might be 10 or 15 minutes, but...
But you're being, you know what I mean? Like you're being a human. Your movement, like that's what we're meant to do. So go and enjoy. So I think there's a lot of people that kind of get burned out. They're trying to reach your goal, but at the same time they might be fighting the grind mentally because they're not learning this something new. They're like, make some new pathways up there. Like go try maybe not something that's going to injure you if you're a high world-class athlete.
Yes.
Don't learn right before your competition. But, take in your little the season that you're maybe doing less maximal stuff and go and do something that's more like something that's new. Learn something. It teaches you a whole lot more about your body. If I realize every time I sit in a kayak I flip over, maybe I'm sitting like this, and maybe I'm leaning like this a lot. You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal?
Yep.
So I've kind of promoted to the people at my facility is try to learn something. Try to get something, movement all the time. Go hiking. Well, I haven't ridden my bike in 25 years. There's a reason when I say you don't forget it. Maybe we can put your training wheels back on, but go out and do it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a bike. You can go something like that. It's balance and stability helps powerlifting.
Absolutely.
Right? But there's a lot of people that discredit that. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's pointless. I don't need to stand on one leg." Can you? Maybe you can't. That's why you're not doing it, because it scares you that you can't do something that isn't a lot of weight. But if this is something that's going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah. If you can't do it, there's a risk. Do you need to? You still got to understand that it is a sport, and there's specificity that you need to train. At the same time, if you've got major imbalances, you have a risk waiting to happen. So we want to be what I call anti-fragile. We
love it.
I'm stealing that, but
I think we've stole from everybody. Everybody steals from everybody else, right?
Yep.
Especially even in music. I mean, think about it. I like that.
But I think that's a big thing you want to figure out, and that's what I've been trying to figure out. Like, I've had a lot of big injuries in my time, and I've been figuring out how did that happen? How do I correct that? And how do I then share that so other people don't? But look at my injury history as of late. I'm not saying I'm not going to get injured. I am very much pushing the edge of what my body is capable of. And I'm okay with hurting myself in that process. That's not something I promote. I'm a world-class athlete. And, most people, 99.999%, shouldn't be pushing to that limit.
It's your choice.
It's
what you want to do.
But still, to minimize that, anti-fragile. We want to minimize all risk of you throw something weird at me, I can handle it, and it just makes me stronger.
Awesome. Anything? Let's see. So you're out in Portland. We're out in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. There's a big difference over here. What do you like to do outside of the gym?
I'm a fabricator and off-roader. So I've got a full machine shop at my house. I build off-road vehicles, usually a lot of times from scratch.
Awesome.
I'm working on a four-wheel steered, 47-inch tired monstrosity right now.
Nice.
Custom Unimog axles that I built from scratch. The list goes on.
So we're in Kentucky. We have a lot. There's a guy that performance off-road that does Jeep stuff. Roy Carl, I believe his name is, but crazy things out there like that. My buddies a couple of friends are really into that. Got some
down south. I think they do what they call the rock bouncing. Find those big hills and they just
there's crazy
tons
stuff.
of horsepower just go flying up and bouncing off of rocks and trees and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, it's and of course I do that to the extreme. So
think about it. Okay, so you're making a machine out of steel, out of suspension, and all sorts of other stuff. But how similar is it to human body?
Oh, very. I mean, actually, it was really funny because I had Stu McGill here this weekend, and he's an engineer background by trade, loves kind of vehicles, making things and whatnot. And we had so many off-the-side conversations about the similarities to the tuning of that vehicle to perform in specific conditions is exactly the same way
Absorption.
that you tune a human being. And a lot of that process and thought work is the same and how you reach there. So I think it's definitely helped me. You know, I've sought a lot of mentors and I've taken a lot of secondary education, but I actually have no formal training I'm talking about the human aspect. You know, I don't have kinesiology degree or any of that, but I'm still known as kind of a subject matter expert, and I think that mechanical or that whole background has helped me understand and just like you're saying, it's very similar. So that's how I think I've walked into it and done well. So what about you?
What do I like to do? Like I enjoy mountain biking. I enjoy single track, down, whatever. Not one of the crazy downhill stuff because to me the risk outweighs. If I shatter my collarbone, well, there's a lot of stuff I can't teach. I can't show, and then there goes my business. So I'd take it a little easier on that. But I'm a fan of like a lot of the balancing stuff. Like in our place, we do a lot of slackline type stuff for neural connection. Like if I put somebody, I'm not putting kids or 60-year-old adults on a slack line right away. But you can stand on one leg and put one foot. If you can't control that thing, or this is what's happening, and I'm a tight end at the best. Let's say the team, say the high school team that just won state, and I'm a senior the next year. Yet I put my foot on that, and this is happening when I'm barely putting 20 pounds of pressure on it, let alone all my body weight. That's still happening when we're standing. We just don't have the feedback.
Right.
So I like to use a lot of the balance stuff. That's why it teaches us so much about where our body is in space to the connection. Whether you're on a bike, you're on a boat, you're on a skateboard, things like that. Some of the most incredible athletes I've seen are people that are on tiny little wheels and a board.
Oh yeah, that's
you do a backflip and land on a skateboard, and it's still going 10 miles an hour.
I love watching some of those
crazy,
weird, odd, extreme sports and just marveling at what we're all capable of doing. In different ways.
And like some people do, like I have a friend that's, powerlifter. He hops up on a board and just goes down there. It's so cool just to see, but he keeps doing it. It's something that he did when he was young, and he never stopped it. I think we get, a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us get so stuck in doing what we're doing. That's the only thing we're focused on. There's a whole life, So like I love the outdoors. The most pain I'm gonna say that I had recently was walking through like 4 hours to downtown Portland just walking on concrete. That's it. But I'd be fine if it was on trails. Totally fine because it's different. We adapt. You're not using the same thing over and over and over. Especially if you have a compensation or something that you're wearing that out. That may be what I did to the meniscus. They thought maybe it looked older, and all of a sudden it just split, and it didn't feel so good. But
we're big into the outdoors up here in the Northwest for sure. So
really
the
like
outdoors, good food. That's what we love.
Drinks.
Apparently, you guys are really good into. You got some good whiskeys because everybody knows I love my whiskey, and there's a lot of good stuff that comes from Kentucky.
What is your favorite? There's so many different ones.
It varies. I mean, definitely right now I'm really enjoying the Willet that we had right from your area.
Yeah. Have another one.
So
that was good.
But I'm thinking that we should go hit some training before all this all our pre-workout wears off. And I'm probably going to hit up Joe here to film some specific coaching stuff on kettlebells that'll be on the DMS website. So we'll get some things on there.
Cool.
So looking forward to learning a few things from out here and getting some good training on.
Awesome.
So,
Cool.
All right.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Joe.
If you'd like to support the production of further content and maximize your athletic performance, check out kabukistrength.net. Our goal is to provide you with the tools and the methods to maximize your performance. There's constantly adding new products to our site, so please check it out. All that's left is for you to bring the attitude.